Hey man, let's talk about something that's probably happened to you and you didn't even realize it. You opened up, you showed vulnerability, you thought you were being real, authentic, and then boom, she started pulling away. What the hell happened? You might be thinking, I thought women wanted emotional men. I thought they wanted us to share our feelings. But here's the brutal truth. There's a massive difference between strength and weakness. And most guys, they cross that line without even knowing it. Today we're breaking down exactly why she disappears the moment you show weakness, and more importantly, how to avoid it. Because listen, this isn't about being emotionless. This isn't about being a robot. This is about understanding the psychology that drives attraction, and once you get this, you'll never make this mistake again. Let's dive in. First, you triggered her protection instincts. Here's something most men don't understand. Women are hardwired to seek security, not just financial security, emotional security. When you break down, when you show weakness, her brain doesn't think, oh, he's being vulnerable. Her brain thinks, is this the man who can protect me when life gets hard? Think about it from an evolutionary perspective. For thousands of years, women chose men who could handle pressure, who could stay strong when everything was falling apart. And that programming, it's still there, deep in her subconscious. So when you call her crying about your boss, when you're constantly stressed about money, when you're having emotional breakdowns over small problems, you're not showing vulnerability, you're showing instability. And instability, my guy, that's the opposite of attractive. She doesn't want to be your therapist. She wants to be your partner. But she can't be your partner if she feels like she has to take care of you emotionally every single day. Second, you shifted the power dynamic without realizing it. Attraction is built on tension, and tension requires balance. When you're always the one seeking comfort, always the one needing reassurance, always the one falling apart, you're putting her in the masculine role. And trust me, she doesn't want to be there. Women want to feel feminine. They want to surrender to your strength. But how can she surrender when you're the one who's always surrendering to your emotions? Here's what happens when you constantly show weakness. She starts making the decisions. She starts being the rock. She starts taking control. And while she might do it because she cares about you, it kills the attraction. Because now she's playing the role that nature intended for you. And when a woman is forced into the masculine role long enough, she loses respect. And when she loses respect, she loses attraction. It's that simple. Third, you became predictable. And predictable is boring. You know what's attractive? Mystery, challenge, the unknown. But when you're constantly emotional, constantly needing support, constantly showing your weaknesses, you become an open book, and not in a good way. She knows exactly how you're going to react to stress. She knows you're going to call her when things get tough. She knows you're going to need her validation to feel better. And that predictability, it's deadly to attraction. Women are drawn to men who surprise them. Men who handle problems without falling apart. Men who face challenges head on. And here's the thing. When you're always showing weakness, you're not giving her anything to be curious about. You're not giving her anything to chase. Because she already knows everything about your emotional state. And she knows it's not stable. Fourth, you made her feel unsafe emotionally. Look, I'm not talking about physical safety. I'm talking about emotional safety. When you're constantly breaking down, constantly showing weakness, she starts to question whether you can handle her emotions too. Think about it. If you can't handle your own stress, your own problems, your own challenges, how is she supposed to trust you with her fears, her insecurities, her bad days? Women need to know that when they're having a rough time, you're the steady force they can lean on. But if you're always the one leaning on her, she feels like she has no safe space to be vulnerable. And that creates distance, because she can't fully trust you with her emotional world if you can't manage your own. Fifth, you confused vulnerability with weakness. And this is where most guys mess up. Vulnerability is powerful. Vulnerability is attractive, but only when it comes from a place of strength. Real vulnerability is when you share your feelings, but you're not broken by them. Real vulnerability is when you admit your mistakes, but you're working to fix them. Real vulnerability is when you open up, but you're not seeking her to rescue you. There's a massive difference between saying, I'm going through a tough time, but I'm handling it, and I'm falling apart. Please fix me. One shows strength with openness. The other shows weakness disguised as honesty. And women, they feel that difference instantly. Here's what you need to understand about female psychology. Women don't want perfect men, but they want capable men. They want men who can feel deeply, but who don't let those feelings control them. They want men who can face problems head on even when it's hard. They want emotional strength, not emotional dependency. And when you show weakness instead of strength, You're not being authentic, you're being needy. And neediness, my guy, that's attraction poison. So what does healthy vulnerability actually look like? It's sharing your struggles without expecting her to fix them. It's being honest about your challenges while showing you're working on solutions. It's admitting when you're wrong without becoming a victim. It's feeling your emotions without being controlled by them. Strong men feel everything. Weak men are controlled by everything. And that's the difference she can sense. Now here's something that might surprise you. Sometimes when you stop showing weakness, she'll actually try to get you to open up more. She might say, "You're being distant," or "You're not sharing with me anymore." And this is a test. She's testing to see if you'll go back to your old weak patterns, or if you've actually grown into the man she needs you to be. Stay strong in these moments. Share when appropriate, but never from a place of neediness, never from a place of seeking her to save you. Let me tell you what happens when you handle this correctly. When you stop using her as your emotional crutch, something powerful shifts. She starts respecting you again. She starts seeing you as the leader. She starts feeling safe to be feminine around you because she knows you can handle whatever comes your way. And that's when attraction comes flooding back. But here's the thing. You can't fake this. You can't pretend to be strong while secretly being weak. She'll sense it. Women have incredible intuition when it comes to emotional authenticity. So you actually have to do the work. You have to build real emotional strength. You have to learn to handle pressure without falling apart. You have to become the man who can weather any storm. And listen, this doesn't mean you become emotionless. This doesn't mean you never share your feelings. This means you share from a position of strength, not weakness. You open up when it serves the relationship, not when you need her to fix you. You show emotions without being controlled by them. Here's what I want you to do, starting today. When you feel the urge to lean on her emotionally, pause. Ask yourself, am I sharing this to connect with her? Or am I sharing this because I need her to make me feel better? If it's the second one, handle it yourself first, then share if appropriate. Because the moment you make her your emotional security blanket, the moment you make her responsible for your emotional well-being, that's the moment she starts pulling away. And guys, I get it. It's hard to change these patterns, especially if you've been doing them for years. But understand this. Every weak moment, every time you break down, every time you seek her to rescue you emotionally, you're making deposits in the wrong account. You're building her perception of you as someone who can't handle life. And once that perception is set, it's incredibly hard to change. So start today. Start building real emotional strength. Start handling your problems like a man. Start sharing your feelings from a place of power, not need. And watch how everything changes. Watch how she starts looking at you differently. Watch how she starts respecting you again. Watch how attraction comes back. Because here's the truth. Women don't leave strong men. They don't pull away from men who can handle life's challenges. They pull away from men who make them feel like they have to be the strong one. Look, man, I know this might be hard to hear, but it's the truth you need to face. If you want to keep the women you care about, you've got to stop showing weakness and start showing strength. Real strength. The kind that can feel deeply but isn't broken by those feelings. The kind that faces problems head on. The kind that leads instead of follows. Because at the end of the day, she doesn't want to be your mother. She doesn't want to be your therapist. She wants to be your woman. But she can only be your woman if you're actually being a man. So step up, handle your business, and watch how everything in your relationships transforms when you stop being weak and start being the strong man she needs you to be.